Let's go ahead and get started since we got a late start getting going here. I want to thank you guys for coming out to the call tonight. I know it was a little aggravating getting in tonight. I'll look into what caused the problems. Not exactly sure what caused it. I didn't know it was possible to log into a webinar that's already finished, but apparently it is. I'll look into that and see how we can avoid that in the future. Um, for people that are new to this call or might watch through the replay, this is my weekly Here to Help You webinar. I do these calls once a week on Mondays at 8 o'clock, and there's generally nothing for sale here. This is a call just strictly pure training and question answer. I come out here and do some sort of presentation or demo, and then answer questions that I got in emails in the web form from last week's replay. And then if you guys have any questions, we take those and try to answer them here on the spot if we can. It's generally just a collaborative meeting, give you guys a chance once a week to come on here and you can ask questions. You can ask each other questions, share things with each other. The posting of links in the chat seems to work here in this software. So, if you feel like you got a link that you want to share with others, you can do that as well. Tonight's training is going to be another controversial one that most people won't talk about, and I've done a couple of these in the last year, and this is yet again another one. Before I get into it, I wanted to initially, the things I'm going to talk about tonight are real world examples of what's happening, and I was originally going to mention names in it, but I may want to post this section of this training out on the Warrior Forum, and if I do that, I can't name any names in it or they'll ban my account over there. So I'll give enough hints and description as to who the people I'm talking are, so maybe you can figure out who they are. But because of wanting to, share this over on the Warrior Forum, I'm not going to be able to call anybody's name specifically. Anything derogatory anyway. Of course, you never really want to do that anyway. You really, you want to try to be civil amongst each other, even if you do have discrepancies with people. But like I said, tonight's training is a little bit controversial, and it's something that most marketers won't talk about at all. And it's really for the betterment, that somebody shares this information with you, because, if you don't, you make these mistakes, and then you have to learn from, the mistakes you made. So, hopefully tonight's training will help a lot of people in several different ways. So, with that said, let me go ahead and get the presentation pulled up here. And I am going to have to full screen this. That means I won't see your guys' chat until the presentation is over with. So if you have any questions, you might want to wait until I close out the screen for the presentation. Okay, hopefully you guys are seeing the screen now. Like I said, I can't switch back to the chat without closing out this screen. And if you're not seeing it, at least you can listen to me, and then you'll be able to watch it in the replay. But I think everybody should be able to see this. Tonight, what we're going to talk about is things that can go wrong with email marketing. We hear a lot about email marketing, the positive things in it, and the really good sugar-coated part of it's what you hear the most about how great it is and how you can make a lot of money with it and how it's the best thing in the world since sliced bread. But there really are things that can go wrong with email marketing, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight, some of the things that can go wrong. And like I said, I'm going to give you some real world examples of some of these things I'll talk about tonight. I'm not going to mention the names, although I will give, kind of a hint as to who they are. So if you're on their list and you know these people, you may be able to figure out who I'm talking about. All right, so email marketing is still the #1 most preferred method for online marketers to get your message out, to connect with your prospects and your current customers. Um, no matter what all other types of advertising marketing there is out there, email marketing is still going to be number one, and for the foreseeable future, it's going to stay that way. And the reason being because it's cost efficient, it's effective, and it's an advertising medium that most everyone can learn to use. And on top of this, it is probably the most affordable um, advertising medium that an online marketer can use, because it doesn't cost much to have an autoresponder account. There's several different options for us out there as far as the services go, and you can get some of them really cheap, and you can get some autoresponder services for free. Although most of the free ones I don't recommend. There is one free one that I think does a fairly decent job, but most of the free ones aren't worth using because the limitations they put on the service, or they put advertisements in it or whatever like that. But all in all, like I said, everybody can afford an autoresponder account because there's just so many options for us available out there. But there's things that can go really, really wrong if you aren't careful with what you do with your, first off, your autoresponder itself, and then the list subscribers you have. Now, luckily, most of these things are under our control, and we can correct them before they even happen, or in some cases after they've happened, if we jump right on it immediately. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is the things that can go wrong. Well, here are the most common things. First off is using a free autoresponder service. Now, I've talked about these before. There's very few free autoresponder services out there that you can really rely on to be dependable, to be there when you need them, and also to give you the type of services and features that you need from an autoresponder. To to my knowledge, there's only two that I can think of that are totally free that are worth using. One of them is Listwire. Listwire has a really good service, although I'm not sure about their deliverability rate. And then you have Email Aces, which is another one that it's full function, but they limit your features with it. You can only have 500 subscribers, and you can only send one broadcast email per week. So it's got some limitations to it. But that's one of the biggest things, is using free autoresponder services. Most people, when they hear about autoresponders, they go to look for the very cheapest one. They'll run into some of these free ones, and they try those first. The second thing is using a script that's badly coded. I'm guilty of this myself. When I first started in online marketing, I went to one of the PHP script websites and found an autoresponder script over there and set it up on my HostGator's Baby Croc account and tried to use it from there, and found out that it didn't work right. It would send out all of the messages all at once, or it would never send them out, or it would send them out to where they weren't readable, just various different things. And then there was some scripts that I bought that were supposed to do a good job. The sales page claimed they were great and all that, but even those turned out to have some sort of problems or limitations with them too. And then the third thing, and this is where a lot of people go wrong, is trying to run their own autoresponder scripts on a shared hosting account. Now, there are some good plugins out there for WordPress that will do, the features in the autoresponder that you need. RapidMailer is one of them. RapidMailer is a good WordPress plugin for an autoresponder. But where most people go wrong with that is they've got a web hosting account that's on a shared hosting account, and they'll set up that autoresponder, and immediately, just as soon as they send out their first broadcast, the mail service providers start blocking their emails because they can detect that you're actually sending bulk email from a shared hosting account. And countless other people do that exact same thing, and it winds up just being a lot of spam going through, so they block every one of those emails coming from a shared hosting account. Very few of them will actually get through. Some of them will get through to Gmail, but most of the time, even with Gmail, they'll go directly to the spam box. Yahoo will block them right at the mail server. They never even get a chance to go into their server. Hotmail and MSN, exact same thing. They'll block them right at the mail server. They never even get a chance to go into the mail system. So these are the three most common things that people do wrong. Now, there's other problems that we cause ourselves, and sometimes we do these not knowing that we're doing them, because in the case of using, a really bad coded script, or sometimes we don't understand email marketing and cause some of these problems. The first one is creating an email jail. Now, if you're not familiar with an email jail, what that basically is when somebody signs up to an autoresponder list and they can't get off of it. There's a really famous guru over on the Warrior Forum that really got flogged over this about 2 years ago he had a professional autoresponder script that he bought that he was running on his own servers, but he had it set up so that when you unsubscribe from one list, you auto subscribe to another. So it was a setting that he had in his autoresponder script setup that when somebody unsubscribed from one list, it automatically subscribed them to another list. In other words, it created a loop that you could never get off of his mailings. And then another thing that can cause an email jail is an unsubscribe link that doesn't work. Now, this comes back to a poorly coded script that doesn't actually take somebody off of the mailing list when they hit the unsubscribe link. It says that it's functioning as far as what the end user sees, but then it never really does take them out of the database as being unsubscribed. The second thing is emailing way too often. There's a really good friend of mine, and I follow him, and this is his method for doing email marketing. So, I can't say that he's doing it wrong because this is what he wants to do. But he's a Cuban fellow down in Florida. He fluctuates on the leaderboards of Empower Network of being between number 1 and 3, so that should give you a hint about who I'm talking about. If you're involved in Empower Networking, you can look at the leaderboards and get the guy's name. But he uses his autoresponder account like an instant message service. If during the day he thinks of something he wants to send out to his subscribers, he'll send out a 1 or 2 line email and just think nothing about it. Now, he's not as bad to do that as he used to be. There was a period in time when you'd get anywhere from 10 to 15 emails a day from this guy. And I guess a lot of people complained to him about, using his autoresponder account like that. So he's kind of slacked down quite a bit from that. You might get 2-3 emails from him a day now, but he uses his autoresponder account like it's an instant messenger, which, he tells people that when they subscribe to his list now that they're going to get lots of emails. So at least he is telling people now that, to expect several emails from him on a daily basis. But it was at one point in time, like I said, he was sending out, you get 10 to 20 emails a day. And it'd just be, random things he'd think of during the day. He would send out a broadcast email over it. The third thing that we do that can cause problems is not sharing enough of ourselves. We come off as impersonal to our subscribers, and sometimes if we're actually using an autoresponder series that we've purchased through a sales funnel, there's no personality to it at all. It's just strict boring training that somebody's pre-written, and sometimes it's even in bad English, and gives no idea to the person that's on your list, if it's really your philosophy and your thinking at all. And then the fourth thing that we do is sharing too much of ourselves. Now, I've been on some people's lists where they just go into their whole life story on every single email, and it takes them 5 or 6 paragraphs to get down to what they're really wanting to email you about at that particular time. And it's just too much information. It's great to share information with your subscribers about yourself, but you can go overboard with it too and get to the point where it's just just a little overbearing, hearing too much about their lifestyle. A good example of that is a friend of mine that I talked about in a previous webinar that got her start with Master Resale Rights. If you remember the Master Resale Rights training we had a few weeks back, she is really bad for this, of writing emails that are just way too much personal information in them, that by the time you get down to what she really wanted to email about, you don't really care anymore, because you've just been through a big ordeal hearing about her day and her circumstance. The next thing is being abusive in emails. There are several people and some people really, they want to build their list on controversy and be abusive. Um, I don't know why anybody would want to stay subscribed to a mailing list like that, but there are people that, maybe like that type of marketing. But there's a friend of mine that I follow off and on, and mainly just because he's a character, and I like to hear some of the crazy stuff he goes on with, down in Macon, Georgia, that he'll send out some of the most abusive emails you've ever seen in your life. I mean, he'll call his subscribers everything in the book, and if they don't respond or go to his Facebook fan page and make posts and comments, he'll really trash them and tell them how much he despises them, and that he, just has no care for them at all, and that type of thing. It's just really, really abusive emails that he sends out. And like I said, that's pretty much his style of email marketing, and how anybody follows him and gives him money for his products and services, I'll never know, but I'm sure there's probably some people still doing it, because he continues to build his list that way. Sixth thing is being too pushy to make a sale. This can be a problem if you're really, really desperate to make sales and you're just too pushy about it. Just doing everything you possibly can to convince somebody to make a purchase from you. And this goes back into a lot of times when you get to this point of being too pushy, that you'll send out multiple emails in a day's time, trying to really convince someone to click a link or go make a purchase. The seventh thing that we do, and this is definitely wrong, and people are guilty of this, and I don't do this myself, but introducing false scarcity into the emails and your promotions. It's easy for people to tell when there's been false scarcity involved in a promotion. If somebody's telling you that a price is going to go up in a couple of hours, and then they don't read the email till 12 hours after that time, and they see that the price hasn't increased, that it gives them the notion that immediately, that you created false scarcity. The other thing is saying you're going to make something available for only a certain length of time, then it's not going to be available, and again, somebody goes after that period of time that you said it was going to be cut off, and it's still there. It introduces false scarcity. Now, sometimes this happens to us accidentally. We're using scripts that are supposed to auto redirect at certain times to a different page as a different price, or a page that says an offer's closed, and sometimes the script doesn't work. So it's not always our fault that we introduce false scarcity, but it happens a lot of times, that we do this thinking that it's going to generate more sales by introducing false scarcity, knowing that it's not going to ever happen to start with. The next thing is not using list segmentation. There are several people that put all of their subscribers onto one big giant list, and it doesn't matter what the promo or what it is you're wanting to email about. Everybody on that list gets that same email, whether it pertains to them or not. And this boils down to lazy email marketers that just do not want to set up multiple lists and move people to different lists as they begin to show the interest of what they're interested in as far as what you're promoting to them. This happens a lot with people that are selling products. They don't want to set up a email list for each product that they set up, so they'll set up just one general sales or buyers list, and then every new product that they come out with, they send that one email that one email out to everybody that's on that list, when you really should be segmenting your buyers list into different categories. You can broad them, go broad with them and make those categories, really not specific, or you can make them really specific and just have, lots of buyers lists. It's better to have, 2 or 3 or 4, depending on, the niches that you're in, instead of putting everybody into one big list and sending everybody the same exact emails. What happens is you wind up getting lots of unsubscribers because they're getting emails that just don't pertain to them. A great example of this is, and I did this myself, not knowing that I was doing it when I first started with email marketing. Um, I was working in 3 different niches, and anybody that made a purchase, I put them on one buyer's list. And the niches were so diverse that they had nothing to do with each other. So when I sent out a broadcast email to the buyers list, 2/3 of the people that got the email weren't interested in it because it was only pertaining to the one niche. So, I lost a lot of people off of that buyers list that I was generating because, I didn't have the list segmented right. Next thing is using canned or swiped AR messages. Um, the problem that this causes is that people will get the same email over and over again from other people that have that same swipe email. Now, this happens a lot with JV launches where, the product vendor will give a swipe email for everybody to use to send out to their list, and you'll get duplicates of the same message. And that happens a lot, like I said, with product launches where you'll get the same email about a product that's being launched. But what I'm really talking about here is when you get a set of email swipes that you've purchased or downloaded from somewhere, somebody gave them to you, and you just load them in exactly as they are, and you don't change anything about them. And it can happen that the same person gets the same emails from 2 or 3 different people that say the exact same thing. A good example of this is a list that I work in called 5-Figure Day. They give you a set of 10 emails to work with in 5-Figure Day, but most people will go in and just stick those same 10 emails in their autoresponder list and don't change them any sort at all. When I got those emails for 5-Figure Day to put into my autoresponder, I recognized right off the bat that there were just too generic and that most people were going to be using that same set of emails. So I went in and changed each one of them up somewhat, added some personality to them and changed things out in them to where, they would be somewhat unique from anybody else that might join somebody else's 5-Figure Day list. The number 10 thing is using foul language. Lots of marketers are guilty for this, of using foul language in their emails. Sometimes we get a little too comfortable with our list and feel like we know them a little better than what we think we do. But there's always going to be people on your list that you don't know as well, or may become easily offended by some of the language you might use. Now, a good way of avoiding this is to think about going out and meeting somebody in the public that you've never met before, what you would say to them. You need to use that type of language instead of just, whatever everyday language that you use. Now, you may have private lists that all of the people that are on that list, and then do they know what to expect from you, and you may be able to get away with this. But for the general rule, you're not going to be able to do this with your regular email list and keep subscribers very long because it'll get circulated. Now, one thing that a lot of people don't realize, and you have to be careful of this when you're actually doing your broadcast emails, most autoresponder services will give you the option of adding your broadcast emails to an RSS feed. Those RSS feeds are public. Anybody in the public can search your name and the autoresponder company, and they can find any emails that you've broadcast out that are in the RSS feed. And of course, if you've got this type of language in your emails, well, that's automatically somebody's not even on your list is automatically going to see the type of emails you send out and get a bad impression about it, if they're easily offended, and they would never subscribe to any of your lists because of seeing, something that's made publicly available. The next thing is being inconsistent in your marketing. Um, Again, there's several people that have really not figured out what business models they really want to work, or what products or niches they want to work in. So they hopscotch around and bounce around between different ideas and products and niches, and it really just confuses your list. They really just don't know what to expect from you. Another example of inconsistency is saying that you don't like one certain type of marketing method or a product or something like that, and then a couple weeks later down the road you've changed your mind and you're promoting something that goes totally against what you said 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now, sure, there's instances where we may use some sort of product or a service and it didn't do what we thought it would, so we're unhappy with it, and you may want to email your list and tell them about the experience you had. But you need to kind of keep it generic and not say that, for example, this posting on Facebook fan pages just doesn't work. I don't care what plugins you use, it just doesn't work. Locking yourself into something like that and then going back later and promoting something that would do Facebook fan pages that you really like is a big inconsistency that's going to cause a lot of problems with your list, because they're not going to know what to believe from you when you flip-flop around like that. And the same goes with not sticking to one certain niche, or locking yourself into a couple of different business models that you're working. Um, an example of that is if you flip-flop between doing resale rights and MLM. Well, those are two really opposite ends of the pole as far as marketing and how you would handle lists in both of those business models. And if you flip-flop between those two, your subscribers are going to be confused about which one you're really going with, and they won't know which one that they should follow you in, or if they should even follow you at all, because they don't see a consistency in what you're doing. The next thing is ignoring replies, or worse yet, not even allowing them. A lot of marketers are guilty of this, of using no reply email addresses. And I know we've all been on those lists where you've wanted to reply back to an email that you've gotten, and you see that when you go to hit the reply button, it comes up to a no reply email address, and you know automatically that even if you did reply to it, that the marketer is not going to see the email, or it's going to go straight to trash, or it's not even going to get delivered at all, or you may get some sort of canned autoresponder, auto reply message back, not autoresponder, but auto reply message back. Now, people are not as bad to do this as they once were, although there's still a lot of marketers that still use real email addresses, but they never reply to the emails that people send back to them. And it could be if they're getting overwhelmed and getting too many replies back. Once your list gets to a certain point, it gets really, really hard to deal with daily keeping up with the responses and replies. I know it takes me a good 30 minutes to an hour every day just going through emails and making sure I've replied to everybody and haven't missed anyone. And my lists are fairly small, folks. I mean, I'm less than 25,000 people on my list. If I had 100 or 500,000 people on my list, I can see where it would be a chore every day. And at that point, if you get to that point where you're getting so many emails that you can't reply to them, you have really two options to work with. One is come up with some generic answers that you can, you're going to get a lot of times the same questions over and over again, that you can, copy and paste, the bulk of the answer in, just add a little bit of, personality to the reply, so, at least they feel like they're getting a real reply. But you can have a generic answer that you send to everybody on that same question that will save you quite a bit of time. The second thing is to have people that work with you and will handle doing some of your support and email replies for you. when you get to the point where you've got, that many emails that you can't answer them all in a day's time, then you're probably doing well with your marketing, can't afford at that point to hire at least, a temporary VA to come in and help you with, handling support and replies. But just totally ignoring people and not ever replying back to them, even if you do have the capabilities and the facilities to do it, that's a really big turnoff with your list subscribers to treat them that way. To know that if they do send you an email, you're not ever going to reply back to it or respond to it. Now let's go over a list of the things that you should be doing. First off, like we just talked about, you should be using a real email address, even if it's one that you don't check personally. If it's one that you have uh, a virtual assistant or somebody else that's helping you with your support to check, you need to use a real email address so that when somebody sends a reply back to your email, it actually gets delivered somewhere, even though it may not be you that actually checks that email account. The first message you send out to people needs to deliver the goods. Whatever it is that you promised them for the reason for them being on their list, the very first email should deliver on that promise and not be an email that says, well, this is coming in a few days, or I'm still working on this, or we've got problems with this, or whatever. The first email needs to deliver whatever it is you promised them right up front, whether it be a free gift or purchase that they made or access to one of your websites or whatever it might be. You need to deliver whatever it is you said you was going to give them in that first email. Your message number 2 should be a follow-up email. Any of you that are on my list, and I think most of you are, or you wouldn't be on this call tonight, you'll notice the very second email I send out in all my autoresponder lists is an email that has the subject line of just checking in. And the whole purpose in that email is just to check with them and once again give them the links to whatever it was they promised they were going to get, and then to ask them if they need help in any way, and then offer the options I have for them for receiving help. Having that second email that I send out, in, like I said, this is in every single autoresponder list that I have set up. That email is the one that's open more than any other email, even the first email. Now, you would think the first email would be your most popular one, and in most all autoresponder lists, your first one is going to be, really high with the open rates and the click-through rates. But my second message I send out in almost all of my autoresponder lists, that second message gets more opens than any of the rest of them. A lot of times maybe people miss that first email and don't even see it, and then they see the second email. But by me sending out that follow-up email, just checking with them to make sure they got access or asking them if they need any help, maybe that's the very first contact that they actually got from me. But I've noticed that email there gets more opens than any of the rest of them that I send out. And like I said, I use that in every single autoresponder series that I have. The fourth thing you can do, and this is if you're not running a churn and burn campaign, only deliver one scheduled email per day. Now, if you're not sure what a churn and burn campaign is, there's a friend of mine that's in another Facebook group with me that runs his list building business model in a different way than I do. And, it's a popular business model. A lot of people are following it. But he sells solo ads and funnel clicks, and he does a lot of ad swaps. And he has what's known as a churn and burn autoresponder series set up, in that when you sign up for a mailing list that's set up this way, you're going to get multiple emails per day, and it's going to be every single day. I didn't realize how many of them could be on this guy's list. The reason why I even got on his list is because I wanted to see what type of emails he was sending out, because I couldn't believe he'd have that much content to send out every single day. But when I got on his list, and it's just been, I think it was around the middle of December, I signed up for his list. I've gotten 8 emails per day from him on this list. And probably, I would guess, out of those 8 emails I get per day, 6 of them are trying to sell me something. There may be 2 of them that are actually, showing me something he's found on the internet or give me some sort of little email marketing training or some sort. But 6 out of those 8 emails a day I get from him are trying to sell me something. It's definitely a churn and burn list. But in general, what most people need to do is only schedule no more than 1 email per day. In fact, Aweber and GetResponse recommends that you break it down to where you don't send more than an email every 2 to 3 days. Now, that's okay, and I think an email sequence is spaced out 2 to 3 days is fine. But delivering 1 email per day is not a problem, and especially even if you have to do broadcast email, there comes the need where you need to send out a broadcast email, and they're going to get 2 emails that day. It's still not pushing the limits. Now, some people are still going to complain no matter how many emails you send them. Some people just don't want they join somebody's list and they expect to never hear from them, I guess. But I've had people send me emails saying you just email way too often, and most of my lists are they'll get at the most 2 to 3 emails per week, unless I send out a couple of broadcasts. Something's happening special that week, and I send out a couple of broadcasts, then they may get a few more. But some people are just I don't know why they join somebody's list if they don't want to get email from them at all. But the general rule of thumb, though, is try to not do more than 1 email per day. But if you can space them out every 2 to 3 days, like the autoresponder companies recommend, it does help quite a bit in keeping people from unsubscribing and getting dissatisfied with the amount of email that they get from you. The fifth thing that you can do is give the new subscriber an idea how much email that you'll be sending. I don't do this in every single one of my autoresponder series, but in a lot of them, I will actually go in the first email and tell them kind of what to expect, whether it's a low volume or a mid volume email list, and how many emails they can expect to get per week or even per day. If it's going to be one, that's going to be several emails per week. But if you give them some idea of what to expect, you can sort of train your list on how many emails to expect from you. But again, unless you're building a churn and burn list, you really want to try to make those emails count when you send them, so that you'll still get open rates. Because it doesn't matter really how many emails you have scheduled in your autoresponder series. You're going to notice as you go down through that list that the open rates start dropping significantly with each one, to where eventually you get down to where you're only seeing 3 to 5% is the average of what you get on an email autoresponder series. After several emails have been sent out, you'll get a 3 to 5% open rate. And a lot of things contribute to that factor. It can be maybe they've lost interest in whatever it is that your list is about, or they've moved on to something else, or maybe they've canceled their email account because they were getting way too many emails from somebody else, so they've just decided to start a new one. Several different reasons why this email rate drops, but it does. You can see it if you look at the stats on your autoresponder account. You can see your first few emails having really, really high open rates and click-through rates, and then each one after that you can see it drop a certain percentage each one, to it finally levels out to about 3 to 5% on average after about 7 to 10 emails or so. You need to use broadcast emails sparingly. In the case of, like I was telling you about with my friend that's in Florida, where he would send out a broadcast email 10 to 20 times a day, that's just way too much. It's okay to use broadcast emails, more than a couple times a week if you have to. If there's really a need for it, something's really going on that you need to keep people informed of. It's okay to use broadcast emails more than once per week. I don't recommend using them more than once per day, though. They do get on people's nerves using broadcast emails more than once per day. If you do ad swaps, do them on the same day each week. That will help a lot, and people know what to expect. that on certain days of the week they're going to get, a definite email that's going to be asking them to either go look at something for sale or to look at a free gift to get on somebody else's list, and they get to where they expect that. Um, when I do ad swaps, and I don't do ad swaps very often, but when I do ad swaps, it's always on either Tuesday or a Thursday. Occasionally I'll do one on a Saturday, but most of the time it's either Tuesdays or Thursdays when I'll do an ad swap. If you do decide to build your list and sell solo ads, you need to do the same thing with it. Uh, Only schedule your solo ads to go out on certain days of the week so that your subscribers get used to the consistency of what type of emails they're going to get from you weekly. And in you know the case of selling solo ads, a lot of times, and it depends on the type of solo ads you're willing to sell to people, the kind amount of the type of products you're willing to promote. It could be that they really expect to see those emails. If you're really particular about the type of products that you'll let people buy a solo ad about. So, it could be a good thing that you get your list trained to expect, those emails on certain days. I personally don't sell solo ads, so I'm not involved in that in any way. I thought at one point in time I wanted to do that, but then I decided not to. I'd rather be a solo ad buyer than a solo ad seller. The ninth thing is offer a good ratio of at least 2 to 1 on content and pitches. This will help keep your list subscribers encouraged to open your emails if they do get enough content as compared to pitches. Now they know eventually they're going to get emails selling them something. Somebody that joins the list not expecting to never get sold nothing is well, I really don't want to call them what they are, but they're joined the list for the wrong reason. They might as well not be involved in internet marketing at all if you expect to join the list and never get a promo email. But you don't want to have lists that are just set up just to send out pitches. Um, it creates the churn and burn type uh, email business model. And even though you may not be sending out 6 to 8 emails like my friend in that Facebook group is doing, if every email you send out is trying to sell something, it's another type of churn and burn list where you're getting people on your list just to try to sell them something, and eventually they're going to drop off because they get tired of trying to be sold something. Um, the next one, and this is the biggest one, is try to be true to your word on scarcity. Like I said, sometimes things happen. We use scripts that are supposed to work for us, and sometimes they don't. Or maybe our hosting account is on a different time zone than we thought it was, and it causes problems. But try to do your best. To if you tell somebody a price is going to go up at a certain time of the day or an offer is going to be ended, do your best, to live up to that so that they can expect that when you offer scarcity in a promo that you send out, that it's real and that they can't just ignore it and come back later because it's going to be there. Um, Again, like I said, sometimes it happens to us accidentally because of scripts we use or plugins that we use, or it could be something that happens with your actual hosting provider. I've had that to happen too, to where a hosting provider actually had to do a server reset, and it caused all kinds of problems where the scripts that I had uploaded didn't even get activated because they had to do a server reset. It's rare that happens, but it can happen. But just try to be true to your word on scarcity if you do introduce it into any of your promo emails. The next thing is to reply to emails regularly. Doesn't matter if you try to do them every single day like I try to do, or if you just do it every 2 to 3 days, whatever the schedule you want to set up, just try to stick to some sort of regularity of replying to emails. And again, if it gets to the point where you can't keep up with some sort of a schedule on it, seek assistance, even if it's just temporary VA help. Give them a list of notepad files that has common answers to questions so that they can send those out for you. Um, the next thing is stay in touch with lists where the autoresponder series is finished. I'm guilty of this myself. I'm not the best in the world for doing this, but once an autoresponder sequence is finished, sometimes I'll forget about the list, and then after a while, I'll go back to the list and they haven't received an email from me in 2 or 3 months, and it creates the situation where you got to try to build uh, recognition with them again, and then work on the know, like, and trust again. Of course, if you had know, like, and trust with them in the beginning, and the series just finished, it's not as bad to build that back, but a lot of times it does take a little bit to get them to recognize you again, because after 2 or 3 months, people tend to forget who you are if they don't hear from you. The next thing, unless you are again doing a churn and burn list, don't email just to promote to make sales. This is really evident to people that they join a list and everything they send out is the offer of the day or the current product launch of the week or the day, whatever. Unless you're building a list that's churn and burn again, don't get caught in that trap, because that's what people will expect from you, and they'll get to the point where they don't open your emails. Unless, now there is another um, angle to this that does work for some people, and actually John Thornhill did a training on it, of doing bonuses, adding super bonuses to product launches. Now that works for a lot of people to do that, to follow product launches and come up with great bonuses that nobody else is going to offer for product launches. Again, you got to train your list to expect that from you. It's not something they're going to know automatically right off the bat that that's what you're doing, but you can train your list to expect that. Okay, and then this is one thing that I like to do with my list, and a lot of people will do this somewhat, but people that will buy a product that I've recommended, if they have problems with the product or the service or whatever, a lot of times they'll email me and ask me if I can help them, and sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. Um, for the most part, I only promote products that I use. So, I got some familiarity with the product to start with, and sometimes it is something I can help them with. But even if it's not, I try to help them get in touch with the tech support of the people that sold them the product. So, that always helps a lot if you can, help people, because some people don't have any clue. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze. Um, some people don't have any clue on how to get to tech support after they've made a purchase. Um, the majority of people that purchase a product, the only thing they know about how to get tech support is to go back to the sales page that they made the purchase from. That's 90% of the people that will buy a product. That's the only clue they have on how to get tech support, is to go back to the place where they made the purchase from and look for a support link. Well, a lot of vendors are bad about not putting support links on their sales pages to start with. So that's wherein, I'll get emails from people, saying, they don't know how to get support. Can I help them with this? And, most of the time, most of the people I promote for, I know them in some way, so I know where their tech support section is. And like I said, in some cases, I can actually help them myself if it's a problem that, I feel like I can help them with. I'll go ahead and help them. But that goes a long way for building the know, like, and trust for people, with people, if you can offer them some sort of assistance in getting tech support, even if it's just a question you can answer for them themselves and save them the time of contacting somebody else's tech support. All right, and this is a list of things you should never ever do in email marketing. One is drop the F-bomb in emails. There are several people's lists that I'm on that they don't care what they say in their emails. They don't care who the emails are going out to. They'll talk like they do, I guess, in their home environment to their friends and family, I suppose, or otherwise they wouldn't be using that word. But you never want to send out F-bombs in emails, because you don't know who you're offending and who those emails are going out to. And again, these emails, especially if they're broadcast emails, are showing up in an RSS feed over on your autoresponder company. Unless you tick that box that says not to show it in your RSS feed, it's showing up in that RSS feed, and anybody can happen across that email. And if they see this type of language in an email, it's automatically going to, give them uh, a bad taste in, having anything to do with you because of how you send out emails and what the content you put in them. So it's best just to avoid that altogether. Um, Again, if you have a really small, tight list of people that you know personally, that you know it won't offend them, maybe you could get away with that. Although, I think even in situations like that, it's still not good etiquette to do that in emails to start with. Never send out abusive or disgruntled emails. Um, I gave you the example of my friend in Macon, Georgia that does that. Um, a few years ago, there's a really famous internet marketer that now works with another famous internet marketer that one New Year's Eve, he must have been drinking, I guess. The only thing I could figure. But he was kind of aggravated because he'd sent out a promo email a few days before, and I guess he didn't get as many sales from it, or maybe he didn't make any sales from it. I don't know. But anyway, on New Year's Eve, and it was really, I guess it may have been actually after New Year's, may have been, just after New Year's. He sent out a broadcast email to his whole list, really abusive, saying he couldn't believe that he's done everything in the world for us, and you didn't buy this product last week or a few days ago, whatever it was, and that he was just so disappointed in his list that he was going to give up and unsubscribe every single one of them. In other words, it was an email that he should never have sent, because you could tell by the language that he had in the email that had been drinking. Um, you never want to send out an email like that. That if you get to the point where you're disgusted with not getting the results from your emails, and maybe the list is not being very responsive, don't turn on them. Just look for other ways, or maybe just delete the list and move on and rebuild it again. Um, I gave the example of the very first email list I ever built. I built it all through traffic exchanges. I didn't, this was back when traffic exchanges were fairly decent for building a list. They're not anymore, but they used to be several years ago. But I built up a list of, 5,000 people really, really quick in about 6 months' time. And after 7 to 10 emails, they got to where they weren't opening the emails, they weren't responding. Um, if they made a purchase, it was right at the very beginning of joining the list, and after a while, if they didn't join, buy something right off the very first few emails, then I knew they were never going to. Um, I got kind of disgruntled with that, and thought, well, this email marketing thing don't work. But instead of sending out, an abusive or a disgruntled email to the list, I just deleted the list and started all over again, thinking that, it was something that I had done wrong. And it may have been, it may have been that I was sending out too many emails. I don't remember now. But in other words, I didn't get abusive with the list, and I didn't send them, any kind of emails, you know, blaming them for not making the purchase. I just deleted the list and started all over again. But a lot of people will do that, though. They'll get aggravated with the list that they're building and they're not getting results from it, so they'll fire off, a really abusive or disgruntled email to the list recipients, asking them why they're not doing this, or what else could I do that I haven't done, and that type of email. And that never works. It's going to cause more problems than it's going to solve to send out an email like that. The third thing is you don't never want to beg or ask for pity in any of your emails. I'm on a list right now where the guy sends out an email twice a week, and I really should unsubscribe from the list, but I just like to see the emails he sends. But twice a week he'll send out an email begging me to go to his what are those crowdfunder sites? It's some crowdfunder site begging me to go to his crowdfunding thing that he's set up to donate money to some app that he's trying to get built, and once was on a book he was trying to write. And then the next email he sent was about how he's got a son that's in prison and he's trying to get him out but can't afford the lawyer, and just every email you get from me is something along that line. He's begging me to do something or asking me to help him in some way. And like I said, that I really should unsubscribe from this list, and I probably will now that I've gotten so many of them that they're every one going to be that way. But it doesn't work to do that, to beg your list to do things for you or to try to seek pity from them in a way to get them to react to what you're asking them to do in an email. Now, there are instances where you may want to bribe people to do something for you, just like the email I sent out tonight. I told everybody that come to the call tonight I was going to give them some software. That's a little different from begging people to come to this call. I was actually trying to entice them to come to the call, and it's not something I'm going to do every single week. Uh, I can't think of any instance where I've ever sent out an email asking for pity. Um, I don't think I've ever done that, but there's people, like I said, that will do these things. They'll send out emails begging for assistance or asking for pity or asking for donations or asking for, to help with something one way or another. And, you're never going to build a good responsive list of people that's going to follow you if you send out emails like that. And then the fourth thing is never talk total trash about anyone or any product. Um, like I said, the internet marketing community is really kind of close knit when you get to thinking about it, especially when you start achieving some level of success, because you're going to start dealing with other marketers that are seeing success, and they talk amongst each other. Um, if you say something bad about one person, you never know if that person that you're talking bad about it might be their JV partner on another project that they're working with. And they're going to go right to them and tell them what you said about them. So it's kind of like gossiping in a way. The word can spread through the grapevine really quickly when you talk trash about someone or their product. Now, it's okay when you have problems with a person or a product, to you know talk about that in a way that it doesn't tear them down or their business or their product. Just to let them know. A great example of this is, and I know several of you that are on this call or listening to this call go to this guy's website every single time a product releases to see his reviews. Now, that's all I'm going to say about his. Give you a hint of who he is. I know you all know who I'm talking about. But this guy has such an anal attitude towards his reviews. Um, No, it's fine to go on and do reviews and give the exact details of the problems you had with them, but man, don't go in biased right off the bat looking for problems just so you can tear it down and rip the guy that's selling it, a bad reputation. I mean, one review he left here recently was so bad where he talked about the vendor's past products and brought that up into the review he was doing of a current product. And I had to reply back to him telling him I didn't think that was right, that to bring up somebody's past products that they may have had a problem with into a review of a current product. Again, it never helps when you talk trash about people. And again, when I told you when I first started this training tonight, I could have went in here and all these people I talked about gave you their names, but I would like to share this training with other people, and I don't want to cause problems with especially my Warrior Forum account, because this is probably one of the places I will share this training with is over on the Warrior Forum. But again, I've given you enough hints. If you're on these people's list, you know who I'm talking about to start with. So it should be enough clue for you if you're wondering who these people are. But it never helps to talk trash about people or their products. It's going to get back to them. It's going to get circulated around that you have that kind of attitude and that you're hard to deal with, and it's going to cause problems for you, not only with that person but other people as well, because they'll be scared to deal with you if they got some inkling that you could turn on them in that same fashion. All right. So to conclude our training here tonight, here's the things that I recommend. One, use a real autoresponder service. It's fine to use, like I said, the Rapid Mailer plugin for WordPress is great if you want to get a VPS account so that you have your own static IP address so that you know it's not been trashed by other spammers and email marketing wannabes. But if you're not willing to go that step of getting a VPS service, use a real autoresponder service that has the features. Don't go out and buy these cheap little scripts from PHP.net and places like that, because you're going to find if they don't have the features or they don't function right. Trust me, I've went through every single one of those, and that's what you're going to run into is scripts that just don't work right. Even over on Code Canyon, I bought a script, an autoresponder script from Code Canyon back this past summer, hoping to put it over in my SWR membership site for those guys to use. And the thing is just total trash. It really is. It's not worth using. So I had to wind up getting a different autoresponder script for those guys to use if they want to use it. Second thing is, plan out your first set of emails to go out for at least 2 to 4 weeks. Have some sort of schedule that you're going to work with for the first 2 to 4 weeks, just so you can get your list trained to what to expect from you. The third thing is, before you submit the emails to be in the schedule or for a broadcast, just read over them once just to make sure that the email makes sense to you. Sure, you're going to make spelling mistakes. I make spelling mistakes in my emails all the time. Um, Even with today's web browsers that puts the little red line under things that telling you you've got a word spelled wrong, I'll still miss some of them. That's not such a bad thing to have bad spelling mistakes, unless it's a whole lot of them, then it's bad. But, just generally you want to read over the email, just make sure they make sense, that they're conveying the message that you want it to say before you submit it into the series or to be a broadcast email. And then the fourth and final thing is put yourself in the recipient's shoes. How would you view the email if it were sent to you? You really need to try to, while you're reading that email before you submit it, think about, if you received that email, how would you take it? Would you be offended by it? Would you be interested in it? Would it turn you off because of the language you used in it? Do you think it would segregate people in any way or hurt anybody's feelings in any way? Just kind of, act like it's an email that you just received. How would you receive it? Would you be happy about reading that email is basically what it gets down to. But if you follow just these four things, that'll help you a lot. And if you follow just a few of the others that I've mentioned, this will keep a lot of the problems out of your email marketing. Because like I said, there is a lot of things that can go wrong with email marketing. And what you hear from most everybody else is talking about how great it is and how you're going to get wealthy with it and how you're going to have this big responsive list. But there's just so many ways you can mess up that list and go wrong with it, and it really come back to hurt you instead of helping you. Okay, so let me go back through some of the questions here now. That was our training. So let me go back through some of the questions we had here. While saying, Rick, how long do you sequence your second high open rate emails after the first double opt-in email? All right, let me read that again. How long do you sequence your second high open rate email after the... I guess you're asking about the just checking in email. I send that out either the very next day or the second day. I either give it a 1 or 2 day break before I send out that second email. And I want to send it out pretty quick because I want to make sure that they got access to whatever it is they signed up for. And that's the main reason for the email to start with, just to make sure that they got access to it, and if they're having problems to get response back from them so I can help them with the problem. But it's usually within a day or two that I send that out. Mary said noise getting awful. Did y'all have some audio breakup in that? Mary says no, mine's okay. Bear with me, guys. I'm scrolling back through the chat here looking for questions. Wall's asking, can you comment on MailChimp's tolerance to affiliate marketing? MailChimp is not very tolerant to internet marketing at all. Um, they are somewhat tolerant to niche marketing, but as far as general internet marketing, making money type products and that type of thing, promoting anything to do with advertising, MailChimp is not tolerant at all. Also, can you repeat your answer, please? Well, I'm not sure which answer it was you were asking me to repeat. Class saying, how do you get around spam filters? There's several things you could do as far as getting around spam filters. First thing you can do is try not to use common words that are associated with spam, like free, um, no cost, gifts, anything that has advertising in it. Try to look for alternative words to those words, and that'll help you a lot with getting around spam filters. But one of the biggest things to help you get around spam filters is when you're setting up either your broadcast or your autoresponder series to go out, do both an HTML and a text version of it. Most autoresponder companies give you that option of having both, and it's really there for people that are using a device that may not be able to handle HTML emails to have a text version. But by having both of those in there, it helps a lot in getting through some of the spam filters. Um, the second thing, other than that, is use a real autoresponder service that they really. That's one of the key benefits of dealing with a real autoresponder service is they stay in contact with the mail service providers to try to get their emails going through their service and jumping on problems that they have with some of their subscribers, their autoresponder subscribers, that maybe are spamming, to blocking them from sending the emails. So, dealing with Aweber and GetResponse and Constant Contact and places like that, they are in constant contact with all of the major email service providers. So you have a better chance of getting through the spam filters just by going with a paid autoresponder service. Another thing you could do is try to avoid using images in your HTML mails. That causes a lot of problems if you have images in your mails. But the internet's getting more tolerant to that now that video is so predominant now on the internet that the mail service providers are getting a little more tolerant to having images in the emails now. While saying, was there another email after the first double opt-in email before the high open rate? Was there another email after the first double opt-in email before the high open rate one? I'm trying to figure out what exactly you're asking here, Wall. Was there another email after the first double opt-in email before the high open rate one? Yeah, I'm taking it you're asking if there was another email after the high open rate second email. Yeah, all my autoresponder series have more than the two emails. Some of them don't have very many. Some of them might just have 3 or 7 emails in them. But yeah, there's always a third email. Um, but it's always been, like I said, from looking at all my autoresponder stats, that second email, the one that says just checking in, has higher open rates than the first email. And I think a lot of it is because, the subject line. Um, People open that. That must be an intriguing subject line to start with. But then again, I attribute a lot of it to maybe for some reason they didn't see the first email. I really don't understand why the second email does have such a high open rate. But yeah, there's always, another email after that second one, but it doesn't have anywhere near the open rates that second one has. The second one always has the most open rates. Jen's saying, do you use a script to track analytic data on emails? Sometimes I do, but most of the time I rely just on the autoresponder company's stats, which I know those are not 100% accurate, but sometimes I will put a tracking pixel in there, especially if it's um, if I'm advertising, sending out a promo on something I've paid advertising for, then and I have email tracking service too that I use occasionally too, especially if I'm doing an ad swap for somebody. I'll use it for that just to make sure everybody's playing fair and getting the right amount of clicks. But unless I'm really wanting to check stats on something like that, I pretty much depend on the autoresponder company's stats. And then Wall says, how long do you sequence your second highest open rate after the first? The second email I send out, like I said, goes out 1 to 2 days after the first one. It's usually the next day, but it's no more than 2 days. Roy says, I heard of an AR today. I believe it's called Traffic Wave. Are you familiar with that one? Yeah, I've used Traffic Wave before. Um, it's okay. I don't have anything bad to say about them. Um, Traffic Wave is used a lot by the people that are in MLM and network marketing and the traffic exchanges. So I guess they get a lot of spam emails sent out through their system, so their delivery rate's not as good as some of the others. But it is really affordable. It's like $17 a month for no matter how many subscribers you get. But I have used them before. I don't use them anymore because, like I said, their delivery rates are not as good as the other autoresponders. Wall says there is a balance between delivery and click-through rate. Yeah, there's definitely a, 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 a balance line you walk there between the open rates and the click-through rates, and then the delivery too. Um, a good example of this is when I first set up. Hold on just a second. When I first set up my first autoresponder script that I bought, and this is not one that I found downloaded, but one that I actually purchased on my HostGator Baby Croc account. Um, I noticed that, in the stats that it was giving me, and of course, I don't know how accurate those stats were because it was a rinky-dink script to start with. But I noticed that, none of the Hotmail or Yahoo Mail emails were getting delivered or opened, not delivered, but opened. There was never any of them that got opened or clicked. So I got to wondering about why that was happening. So I contacted HostGator, and they told me they looked into the actual mail server stats or logs and told me that every one of them were being rejected. And the reason why they were being rejected was because I was on a shared hosting account where the IP address is shared amongst hundreds of other people. So, if you can't get the delivery to start with, you're definitely not going to get the opens. Um, so, again, if you're going to run your own script of some sort, even RapidMailer, like I said, I think RapidMailer is a great script, but you need to run it on a VPS account or a static IP just to have your best chance of getting, delivery into places like Yahoo and MSN. Comcast and SBC Global, you can pretty much forget it running your own autoresponder. You're never going to get through to those. But you have a chance with Yahoo and MSN and Hotmail if you have your own static IP. While I was saying the first double in email is a confirmation link included. 2, just checking in with high open rate. Have I got the sequence? Yeah, that's exactly right. The first email is just delivering the goods. If it's a double opt-in, it's actually the first email you send out is actually the second email they're going to get, because they're going to get that confirmation email from the autoresponder for using double opt-in. But the first email that you send out to actually send out, whether it's a double opt-in or single opt-in, is the one that delivers whatever it is you promised them. And then, like I said, a day or two after that, send out that just checking in email, just to make sure that they got what they were subscribing to your list to get. Walls asking, can you comment on the delivery of SendReach? I've never used SendReach, so no, I can't comment on that. Now, I am using Amazon's SES in one of my autoresponder setups where I have Rapid Mailer set up, and it is doing really well. I'm really happy with the open rates with Amazon SES and the delivery rates. All of the Hotmail and Yahoo and MSN are getting delivered, and I'm seeing opens and clicks from them. So Amazon SES has a really good reputation with email service providers. Also, balance with using images and animated GIFs in your email. Yeah, you don't want to go overboard with either one, but like I said, the internet's getting more tolerant toward videos and images and emails, so it's not as bad as it used to be. It used to be if you had an image in your email, it was an automatic, first off, antivirus trigger, but then a lot of the email service providers would flag them to start with too because of having images. But that's no longer the case. That's changing quite a bit now. But you still don't want to go overboard with it. Paul says, would using Amazon SES with Rapid Mailer improve deliverability? It sure would, Paul. Like I said, that's what I'm doing with one of my Rapid Mailer setups, is using Amazon SES, and I love it. It's doing great, and it's cheap too. It's really cheap. One of the list I have set up on that account has 12,000 subscribers in it, and my highest bill from Amazon SES has been $1.21 for sending emails out to that list. That's how cheap it is. Jimmy saying, I'm using Amazon's email service to send emails. Great delivery. Yeah, Jimmy, I agree. It does do really well, and it's cheap. If you want to use your own script, I recommend getting Rapid Mailer, getting a static IP, and using Amazon SES. Now, you need to be careful when you're first sending out emails through Amazon SES. You got to kind of, go easy with them at the very beginning. You don't want to blast out 100,000 emails the first day you sign up with them. Take it slow, build up. Send out 1,000 or 2 at a time until you get, a few days in with them, and you'll be fine with them. But I'm really happy with them. Paul saying, could you use it on shared hosting? You might be able to, Paul. I'm not sure. I don't have Rapid Mailer set up on my shared hosting account using Amazon SES. I can't tell you that for sure, but I think you'd have a better chance doing it that way. Dana says, can you show us how to use Amazon at some time? Yeah, I can look into that, showing you guys how to get signed up for Amazon SES. It's really simple, but yeah, I can look into doing that, showing you guys how to use Amazon SES. You're saying, is it hard to set up Rapid Mailer in Amazon? No, it's not hard to set it up. Rapid Mailer is really pretty easy to set up. It's one of the simplest autoresponder scripts I've seen to set up. You do got to jump through a couple of hoops with Amazon as far as the DNS records, but even that's not real hard to do. Like I said, I can create a video showing you guys how to do that. Jim saying, do you pay a monthly fee? I think you're asking about Amazon. Is that what you're asking about, Jen? Yes. You pay monthly on how much email you send out to Amazon through Amazon. It, I forget what the rate is. It's really cheap though. It's like 1 penny for every 10,000 emails or something like that. It's really, really cheap. And like I said, my highest bill with them, the highest one I've ever had with them has been $1.21. But it depends on the usage, how many emails you send out, because they charge you by the amount of emails that you send out. While saying, have you tested sending email, HTML versus text only format? Do text give better delivery but lower click through content from the content of the email? It really just depends on the list. While some people are used to seeing the, how Aweber and GetResponse will cloak the links in a text email. It's clicks.aweber or getresponse.whatever. How they'll cloak a link in a text email. Some people are used to seeing that, and they'll trust that link and click it. So it's kind of hard to judge which one does better. I think in some instances an HTML email does better because you can have a better description of the link as opposed to a text version only where it's cloaked like that. It's just a big ugly string. But some people are used to clicking those links, so it's really hard to tell which one does the best. Wall says, I got Rapid Mailer way back, but asked for a refund as my experienced buddy had problems with Rapid. When they first came out with Rapid Mailer, it was a lot of problems. In fact, people ragged Sean Donahoe really bad about it, putting out a product like that, and it didn't work at all when it first came out. But he's made several improvements to it and released several updates for it. It's pretty stable now, and it's got a lot of good features in it. So you might want to reconsider it now. And I'll give you a hint, guys. If you go to Rapid Mailer's page to get the plugin, they're on the very first screen, the first sales page. I think it's, I don't know, $47 or $67. But if you close the page, it comes up with a pop-up script that says, "Wait, how about a discount?" And you can get a copy for $27. Yeah, see, it's the ClickBank OTO trick. Try to close the browser to get a discount. Sean must be an old-time ClickBanker. Okay, you guys got any other questions on the training before I go to the questions I got in emails? All right, let me go over the questions we got in emails real quick, and then I want to give you guys the link to the software I promised you. But I want to get these questions in quickly first. All right, the first one I got says, I'm not interested in doing the auto webinars. Is there any other offer to get into your SWR membership? Yes, there is, but I'm not going to make it available till after Friday because I promised everybody that I would leave that offer up until Friday of this week. But after Friday, there is going to be another offer to get into the SWR and not have to buy the auto webinar thing. In fact, if you know any of the SWR members, you can contact them directly. They all have affiliate links. You can get in right now if you want to use one of their affiliate links, if you know any of them. The second question, I bought a done for you sales funnel and haven't made any sales. What did I do? What did I do wrong? I contacted this person asking them about the traffic that they sent to this done for you sales funnel. And it was actually one of them. The sales funnel they got was a decent sales funnel. It wasn't that something was wrong with the sales funnel. It was a decent one. But found out that they were just doing traffic exchange and safe list emails, depending on traffic like that. And that's why they weren't making any sales. I recommended to them, to do, some real marketing, either try to go the SEO route or spend a little bit of money on solo ads or Facebook pay-per-click or something like that. But it really just depends on the type of traffic you're sending, whether how targeted it is, whether a sales funnel of any type is going to do you any good. Like I said, in this instance here, when I talked to the fella, he was sending traffic exchange and safe list emails to a sales page, and that never works. Um, you have some luck getting people onto an autoresponder, but not as much as you used to have with those. But it really just boils down to the targeted traffic that you're sending and the quality of the traffic. You can send targeted traffic that's still low quality and still not make sales. The next says, what makes a product evergreen? What constitute a product being evergreen is when the method or the instruction or it's even a piece of software or a plug-in or something that's going to work from the day it was released and from there on into the foreseeable future, unless something major was to happen. Like all of a sudden we can't send out email, and that would kill a lot of email products. But what constitutes something being evergreen is something that's published, either an ebook or a piece of software or a script that serves a basic function that's going to always work as it's intended or instructed to do. When you talk about an evergreen product, um, sometimes people misuse that and say something's evergreen when it's not. But for the most part, when people talk about evergreen, they talk about something that when it's released, it's going to work then and it's going to work from then on. Examples of things that are not evergreen are something that tells you how to do some YouTube trick or some ranking trick in Google, or how to get cheap Bing ads or Yahoo ads, or how to get Facebook ads for a penny, which I've told you guys this before. I've never got Facebook ads for a penny, even though people claim they do. I've never gotten them. The next question says, what is your best advice for outsourcing IM product creation? The very first thing I can tell you about getting anything outsourced is to create a spec sheet of exactly what you want created, what your end product, what you want it to do or look like, or how it should function. Most of these outsourcers, when they're bidding on your jobs, and I'm talking about going to the actual outsourcing sites where they actually bid on them, most of them have no clue about internet marketing to start with. So, you pretty much have to tell them every little thing, what you want it to do and how you want it to function, how you want it to look. And sometimes that gets really hard, considering some of these people have no clue about internet marketing to start with. And in a lot of cases, I'll recommend, before going to guru.com or Elance or any of the rest of them, Freelancer, go to the Warrior Forum in the Warrior for Hire section, see if you can find somebody in there. You've got a good 75 to 90% chance of somebody in the Warrior for Hire section already being experienced with internet marketing and gotten some idea of what your end product, what you're trying to come out with. And it's probably going to be a little higher than what you would pay to get some Indian, real cheap, but you're probably going to end up with a higher quality product that's going to service what you're wanting it to do to start with. But definitely it starts off with creating a good spec sheet of giving exact details of what you're wanting before you start posting a job for bids. And then the last one I got just today. Did you get today's Social Engage, and what do you think about it? No, I didn't buy Social Engage today, and the reason why I didn't is I'm kind of aggravated with it. I noticed on the guy's JV page that he's got the front end product listed at one price, and then there's a pro upgrade, and the pro upgrade allows you to do the same things in Google Plus and Twitter. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh, okay, that's great that you've got two versions, but first off, I think the front end version should have been cheaper if you're going to go with a pro upgrade to add the other two social networks. So that's the reason why I held off on getting it. I thought his pricing scheme was wrong for what he's offering. Um, Personally, I would have, I'd have been happy if he was going to limit the front end version to be $17 or $27 and then offered his pro upgrade that does Google Plus and Twitter at the 47 or 67, whatever he's selling the upgrade for. I would have been happy with that, but I just thought his pricing scheme was wrong. And to be honest with you, there's so many of these Facebook things that come out that um, don't get supported. The guy that's developing this product at Precious Ingu, or ever how you pronounce that name, he's released several products that he's never supported. So I was kind of leery of that to start with. That here is things supposed to be for Facebook, and Facebook will probably squash it in some way, and then he may not ever update it. So I was kind of scared of that too a little bit. Again, I'm not talking down his product. I just thought, his pricing scheme was bad, and I know Precious Ingu has not had a good reputation for supporting his products. It's the two reasons why I didn't get it. So I don't know if I'll get it or not. I probably won't. Okay, that's all the questions that I got in the emails. While saying, Rick, I have a killer video animation and other graphics guy. If anyone needs help, through me get great rates. Okay, that'll be good. I'll tell my SWR members about that for sure. Of course, I think most of them are on the call tonight. Wall saying I think the OTA was also developer license. Yeah, it probably was. I think it did have developer license going along with it. $69 for the OTO. I don't know. Maybe I might change my mind about Social Engage after seeing some people use it, but I'm just leery of stuff like that comes out for Facebook. It's going to get squashed right off the bat, not being able to be used. Yeah, it's 54, and there's a discount that you can get that gives you either $5 or $10 off from Jeremy and Simon's Member Speed 10. You can type in Member Speed 10 in the checkout page and get either $5 or $10 off. Yeah, while the products I've bought from him in the past, he's had a really poor reputation for supporting them. Um, Seemed like it lasts about 6 months, and then something changes, and he never goes back and updates them. Okay, guys, let me give you the link that I promised you to the software. Get it copied and pasted here. There's the link to the software, and let me tell you a little bit about it. You guys are still seeing my screen, right? Can I get a yes that you're still seeing my screen? All right, Kathy says yes. All right, let me tell you a little bit about this software and what it does. First off, it's a product that markets this latest PLR that came out from Henry Gross, Instagram Marketing Secrets, which I've rebranded to Instagram Marketing Machine. What you get with it is a piece of software that actually delivers 7 Instagram marketing lessons, and you get a copy of this page that I'm showing you right here with it to help you distribute the software. But you also get, since you guys are on the call, you're going to get the brander that when you rebrand the software with your PaySpree link. I'm using PaySpree for the affiliate network for this. When you rebrand it, you'll get 100% of the sale whenever there's a sale made. So all you gotta do is just rebrand the software, rezip it back up. I give full instructions on how to do that, and then just put this page up on your website somewhere and just send traffic to it. You'll get a lot of people that will download this because it's free. You know, there's no opt-in to get the software. Now, the second feature in the software is you can actually enable software registration activation in it to give them a code and actually build a list with it if you wanted to. You could create, you know, a new list or use one of your current lists and just send them out the activation code through an email through your autoresponder. That's up to you if you want to do that or not. You can disable the registration if you want and just let it just be software to use. But like I said, once you brand it and you circulate this software out, I actually have the software up and running here. Let's see where I've got it. Yeah, right here. This is what the software looks like. It has each one of these is a lesson in how to use Instagram, but then it's got a banner right here that actually links to the paid product. And most people, and well, in my experience, 99% of the people, when they open this software, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to click this banner. And once they do that, it sets your cookie for the product that if they go back after going through these lessons and the autoresponder series that I have set up, I'm sending out a naked link in the autoresponder series that you will get 100% of the sale instantly to your PayPal account. So it's a good little system, and I've also adding other products into this autoresponder sequence in case they don't buy this PLR product here, they'll maybe purchase some of the others. And with PaySpree, how they have it set up is once you're an affiliate for one product, as long as I keep all of the products grouped in the same group, then you're an affiliate for all of the rest of the products. So you'll have a chance at making, you know, commissions off the additional products too, you know, even if they don't get this one. But software like this is really easy to distribute. You know, people like to get software. They have a software has a higher value to people most of the time. Plus, this is really interesting and a nice piece of software, so it should do really well for you guys. And like I said, I'm including this infographic page here that tells about the software and gives them some hints about the lessons that they're getting. So, you know, it's a really nice looking page and should do well for you guys as far as getting some list subscribers if you decide to go that route, or making some extra money from the sales. Like I said, you're going to get 100% of the commissions on the sales that are made from this software. Okay, I think that's about it for tonight, guys. We got through this all finally. Hopefully our recording turns out good. So we got a Q&A question up here. Let's see what that is. Class says sound deteriorating. Okay. Well, I've got 2 recordings going, Clyde, here, so hopefully one of these recordings is going to turn out good. I'm doing a Camtasia recording plus the webinar's recording at the same time. Okay, guys, unless there's any other questions, we'll go ahead and call it a night. I want to thank you guys for bearing with me, sticking through this. I'll look into this problem of what happened with people going to the wrong room. Try to get that fixed before next week. I don't know what caused that. It's probably something I did. I'll be the first to admit if I made a problem, and it is probably something I did, since it was a redirect link I sent out to start with. It probably is something I did. But anyway, I'll look into that and see if I can get that fixed for next week. But you guys should get an email the day before of the call. I don't understand why some of you did and some of you didn't get it. But you should get an email the day before the call, because these are set up in a sequence. When I set this call up, I set it up for every Monday night all the way through December, and you're just supposed to have to register for one of them, and you're registered for all of them. So I don't understand how anybody got into the old room from last week. I don't see how that happened, but apparently it did happen. But I'll try to fix that. Of course, says I'll reply to email received for the offer room to you. Okay. Yeah, Roy, if you can send me any of the emails that you got, that may help me track down what went wrong. Wall says, thank you for your patience in getting through the room tonight and also the great content as always. You're welcome, Wall. And like I said, I'll have a replay for you guys in the next day or two. Um, I know, like I said, I've got a couple recordings going here. Surely one of them will turn out. But thanks for coming to the call tonight, guys. And I look forward to seeing you on next week's call. Have a great week. And if you need me, you know how to get a hold of me. Email, through Facebook, or the private Skype room if you're in it. But thanks for coming, guys, and have a great night.